Hey everyone, welcome back to Let's Tell It Like It Is. Today we're diving into a heavy but super important topic, nuclear weapons. You know, those giant, terrifying bombs that pretty much change the world forever.
Oh, wow, yeah. That topic's always got me feeling all kinds of ways. Part, thank goodness they haven't been used since WW. That part, holy crap, what if they get used again? So where do we even start with this?
I love that you said that because that's exactly the vibe most people share. There's this widespread belief, which honestly I feel too, that no country will ever actually press the nuclear button again. The logic is pretty straightforward. If you use one, there's no winning in that war. You don't come out on top, you crawl out of the rubble if you make it at all.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like, everyone just knows it's game over for all sides. So, no one's dumb enough to do it, right?
Exactly. That game over understanding is deeply baked into how major nuclear powers operate. They reject the idea of nuclear war being winnable. There's this concept called mutual assured destruction, MAD for short, and it's basically a death pact between nuclear countries. If one fires, the other still has enough weapons to hit back hard, leaving both sides wrecked.
So it's more like a scary peace treaty? Like saying, if you harm me, I'll make sure you pay the ultimate price too. So nobody dares to start anything?
Perfect. Nukes aren't like rifles or tanks that you use to claim land or win battles. They're more like ultimate insurance. If you destroy me, I'm dragging you down with me. And that fear of total annihilation has worked. We haven't had a nuclear bomb dropped in war since 1945, and almost 80 years of what people call nuclear peace, even through the Cold War tensions and all.
That's wild when you think about it. With all the global beef and brinkmanship, nukes somehow kept us in check. I mean, that's such a grim form of diplomacy though, right? You don't want to win anything by blowing everything up.
Absolutely. But here's where the story gets more complicated. If we stopped it, no one would use a nuke. It sounds simple and hopeful. The reality is trickier. The real danger isn't just evil leaders wanting to nuke the world. It's mistakes, fear, and plain human error in a system that's incredibly complex.
Wait, you mean people have actually almost nuked the world by accident? Like close calls?
Yes, multiple times. History is littered with moments where missteps nearly triggered nuclear war. Like the Cuban Missile Crisis in 1962, when the US and Soviet Union basically had missiles pointed at each other from Cuba and nearby bases. Both sides were at high alert, gearing up for combat. It took deliberate, super careful decisions, some downright courageous to step back and avoid disaster.
Man, I remember that's always talked about like one of the tensest standoffs ever. It's crazy to think one wrong phone call or misread signal there and everything melts down.
Exactly. And it's not just that. Fast forward to 1983, a Soviet early warning system mistakenly showed what looked like US nuclear missiles incoming. The officer on duty had to decide whether to report it as a real strike or a false alarm. He called it a false alarm, thank goodness. Imagine world peace in the hands of one person's judgment and seconds of confusion.
Oh, dang, that's like a Hollywood thriller, but real life. One person's call stopped nuclear apocalypse. No pressure or anything.
Totally. And even in that same year, there was NATO's Able Archer exercise. It was a drill simulating nuclear war procedures, but the Soviets weren't convinced it was just practice. They feared it might be a cover for an actual first strike and raised alert levels. So you had fear and uncertainty at the brink again?
It's wild how much of this delicate balance depends on people not losing their cool or systems working perfectly. It's like a giant game of Jenga on a shaky table.
Exactly. So when people say, nope, no one's ever going to use a nuke again, we have to add a big, honest asterisk. We've been incredibly lucky so far, relying on good judgment and some fortunate coincidences.
That really puts things into perspective. It's not just about crazy dictators pushing buttons, but also the risk of normal folks trying to make split-second calls with incomplete info. Yikes.
And here's another twist. Not every nuclear use would be World War III level devastation right away. There's this thing called limited nuclear use. Some strategists believe a small tactical nuke might be used on a battlefield in a regional conflict, like a shock tactic to get the other side to back down without triggering total war.
Whoa, wait. So you're saying some countries might think it's okay to actually use a nuke, just a tiny one? That sounds insane.
It's twisted logic, but yeah, that's how some think about it. They imagine a limited nuclear strike as a way to leverage power without total escalation. But here's the catch. Once that first weapon goes off, the entire world stops. Markets crash, governments scramble, and the other side feels enormous pressure to respond, and no leader wants to look weak after their people have been nuked.
That sounds like a recipe for disaster. Like once you pop that cork, the whole bottle explodes.
Exactly, you can put it beautifully. Once you cross the nuclear threshold, it's super hard to contain the fallout, literally and figuratively. That limited use idea is a dangerous illusion because escalation risks skyrocket.
So where do you stand on all this? I mean, it sounds terrifying, but also like we've avoided nuclear hell so far mostly by luck and nerves of steel.
I'm with you on the gut feeling. Most leaders truly understand nuclear war is unwinnable. And that fear keeps fingers off triggers. That's the hopeful part. But I can't say never when talking about nuclear war. Systems are complex, people are fallible, and history shows we've come close before. Experts studying nuclear risk put a small but real chance that we might see nuclear use this century.
Seriously, like small probability, but not zero? That's enough to make you want to keep an eye on all this, for sure.
Definitely. And that's why we shouldn't live in constant terror, but also can't afford denial. Arms control treaties, diplomatic talks, hotlines between countries, better warning systems, these things still matter a ton. Policies that reduce accidents and misunderstandings need our support.
So basically, it's not just some secret strategy only generals and politicians care about. It's about real communities, real families, our cities, kids, grandkids, living in a world that could be changed in one bad day.
Exactly. Nuclear weapons policy isn't an abstract game. It's a real issue that affects every one of us, even if we don't always talk about it.
You know, next time someone goes, nah, nukes won't be used again, I'm gonna tell them, hey, yeah, let's hope so, but history's taught us to stay alert and push for better safeguards.
That's the spirit. Let's tell it like it is. We want to keep it honest and real. The system's done a remarkable job so far, but it's not infallible. Recognizing that truth is the first step to keeping nuclear apocalypse off the table.
Amen to that. Well, thanks for unpacking this with me today. Heavy stuff, but such necessary talk.
Absolutely. And to you listeners, stay curious, stay informed, and remember your voice matters in big global conversations like this.
Couldn't have said it better. Catch you next time on Let's Tell It Like It Is. Stay safe out there.
Take care, everyone.